Welcome to another episode of Behind the Visual, a podcast where I interview all the people responsible for creating all those images and videos you see out in your world every single day. I am your host, advertising and lifestyle photographer, Mark Hansen, and today my guest is Simone Delfino Yenni. And Simone is the Senior Director of Global Brand Communications at the Collective Group, which is the parent company to Equipment, Joie, and Current Elliott fashion brands. She's also worked for Club Monaco and Diesel. So really interested in hearing everything Simone has to say. I think it's going to be some great stories. So here we go. So, well, first of all, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate you agreeing to do it. Yeah.
My pleasure. Happy Saturday.
Yeah, you too. So tell me how you got into doing everything you do, how you got to the point where you are working for companies like Diesel and then Collective Group and all that into your job position. How'd you get to that point? Was it something you've wanted to do your whole life kind of a thing? Like as a kid, you're like, oh, this is fun? Or is it something you just kind of landed into?
Absolutely landed in this type of world. I grew up in the Bay Area, not knowing San Francisco, California, Bay Area, sort of not knowing what I wanted to do at all. I moved to Los Angeles for a few years, sort of trying to figure it out as many kids do from the Bay Area. They migrate south. I did the same. I ended up working.
Well, it's warmer.
What's that?
It's warmer.
Much warmer,
yes.
yeah. But still on the coast, still very similar in terms of culture. So that was nice. You don't feel like you're too far away from home. I worked a little bit in commercial production and music marketing and promotions, as people do in LA. I wound up moving to New York City and just sort of tried my hand at living there. Still not sure what I wanted to do.
That's a big change of lifestyle right there.
Yes. And I was still young enough to where it didn't really matter yet. I had time to sort of play around and try different things, and I was taking full advantage of it. I ended up meeting a woman, Louise Evans, and she and her husband had Evans Communications on Madison Avenue, which was a very reputable PR firm. Still is. And we met in a social environment, actually at a hair salon, oddly enough, John Frieda Salon on the Upper East Side. And she and I just started talking, and she said that I would be really good at PR. She had a hunch, and she wanted to offer me a job. I was moving back to California. I was supposed to live in New York for 6 months. And she said, stay in New York, don't go back. I'll give you a job. If you like it, it's yours. I have a feeling you will. She said, and if you hate it, you don't have to take it and you can move back home. So I gave it a shot, and it was sort of from then on, something I've been doing clearly for over 15 years. But that's sort of how it went down. She took a chance on me, and I guess, PR, it's has a lot to do with personalities and obviously communicating and interpersonal skills, more so than, of course, than now. Now it's all digital, but hey, it worked for me at that time, at least.
What made you move to New York? What got into you just like, hey, I'm going to go to the other side of the country?
The big city, big life, yeah. Big city. One of my best friends was there living already. I had broken up with my boyfriend. I needed a change in my life, and she said, come on. Let's do this. Let's have fun in New York City and live it up while we're still young. So there you have it.
Okay.
Packed a big bag and hadn't been to New York since I was a small child, was visiting on vacation with my family. So I didn't really know what to expect. And boy, was I surprised pleasantly. No place like it. It was so much fun. I was there for 12 years, 12 of, some of the best years of my life. And met my husband there. He's from Marin, from the Bay Area too. We went to rival or sister high schools and moved back.
Wow. So you had to go all the way to the East Coast to meet your husband, and you're both from the West Coast. That's impressive.
Our parents live minutes away from one another. It's wild.
Really?
Yeah, it was
Wow.
meant to be. We like to believe that.
So what brought you back to the West Coast?
Family. We wanted to have a
Yeah.
family. We wanted to leave New York on a high note and not have to deal with the subway and the icy cold winters with a child, a small child, and
Yeah.
be closer to our parents and our families and our roots and raise, our kids the way that we remember loving so much in nature and with access to the outdoors readily available from all angles. So yeah, that's what brought us back. We actually went and did a stint in LA for a couple of years and just, while it was nice to get it out of our system, we really had that time to figure out that we were not Angelinos at all, and it's better suited for us here in the Bay Area.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. No, there's definitely a difference between your Bay Area and LA for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But that's where I started working for the Collected Group, actually. So I'm lucky. I'm happy that things happened the way it did. I loved being with them for 2 years, and it was tough for me to tell them that I was resigning. But then I was really pleasantly surprised when they offered to keep me on because we had pretty great working relationship at the time. Our team was really solid, and the company is based in Vernon, which is it's a pretty industrial neighborhood. A lot of denim manufacturers are out there. It's towards like East LA, and people don't do a lot of in-person meetings there. It's not like New York City where you hop out and do coffee or lunch with people or go to each other's offices. It's really everything you do is over phone and email if you're not traveling for business. So they were like, you don't need to do what you do here in this office. We trust that you have a good enough work ethic to do what you do from home, and we can video conference and travel together, meet over wherever we need to go. So that it felt very modern. That was a really nice surprise. There were a lot of like single mothers I was working with and empowered women, businesswomen, successful businesswomen who believed in that model. So I was lucky.
yeah, that's great. So you were gonna just quit your job, move back
Yeah, San
upstate, and then they wanted to
Francisco
let you.
offer in terms of fashion and business and a lot of really exciting stuff happening here. Clearly, it has been for a while. So I thought I'd be able to figure it out. But I didn't have to, which was great. I was working remotely for 2 years
Wow.
before this whole COVID thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No
So
kidding.
yeah,
How did you worked at Diesel before that, didn't you?
I did. So when I left New York, I was working for Diesel, which was a lot of fun. I was there for 3 years. Italian company, so we were going to Italy 6 times a year.
Wow.
Really fun team. I was heading up the US PR department there.
Were
Mensy
you there
women.
when Dave Chappelle? I mean, not Dave Chappelle.
Wow, he was there. Oh, cool.
When La Chappelle was shooting for Diesel.
No, no, no. I joined shortly before Nicola Formichetti
Okay.
uh, came on as Diesel's creative director, which was really, really exciting. He's the guy responsible for Lady Gaga's meat dress.
Oh wow.
Yeah, her
Okay.
stylist, sort of as she just rose to stardom, and with his wild vision, he has a really, avant-garde, wild fashion vision, and
Yeah.
still does.
Anybody can come up with a meat dress. You obviously have some kind of
Right,
yeah.
right, 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 right. So that was a lot of fun. He was pretty much the guy there when I was there. We worked with a lot of different photographers. He did a really cool campaign with Nick Knight, shot on an iPhone using an app, oh gosh, Glitch, I think it was called, to kind of tweak the visuals in a really interesting way, which made the photos look beautiful and very different and next level. So yeah, he was really doing new things, trying to work a lot with technology to push the envelope, and succeeded because it was nothing like I had ever seen before.
Yeah, that's always incredible when you get something like that. When somebody comes in with that kind of vision and be able
Right.
to handle that. What
Yeah.
um what exactly were I guess your responsibilities, your job description at between diesel and collected group and all that? What do you do from
Yes.
beginning to end kind of a thing with them?
Well, okay. So I can tell you about how so when I started working in New York in PR, I worked for agencies in the beginning, which started at Evans Communications. I was there for a few years, 3 years or so. And then I moved to LaForce and Stevens for 5 years, which is now just called LaForce, but we call it PR grooming school. James LaForce is very well known in the industry as being meticulous publicist. And we had all kinds of different fashion clients from like Target, from all their designer collaborations that they were so well known for, to way more niche, like small designers who were doing runway shows, and we were doing their shows pro bono because we wanted to work with them. So, um, you know, bigger, more commercial brands to smaller kind of design focused fashion brands, jewelry brands. We had spirits brands like we did the Veuve Clicquot polo match there. So it was kind of a nice way to sort of learn how all sorts of different clients operated in different capacities and what they needed from us, whether it was just media relations or if it was full like brand marketing strategies from top to bottom, because their in-house teams were so small that they needed all the help that they could get. Or even like introductions to, through sales, like a Bergdorf Goodman introduction, for example, because we had those relationships too. So really just being exposed to so many different facets of the business, but with a foothold in PR, which can be a little ambiguous in general. From agencies and working with so many different types of clients, I really wanted to work in-house for one brand, have one focus, stop wearing so many different hats and being so scattered. And that's when I went to Club Monaco. That was my first in-house position. I was the director of PR and events there. So for all of North
Wow.
America, which had me going to Canada quite a bit. The company started in Toronto, which is an awesome city. But yeah, so events was part of it on agency side as well, but it was formalized at Club Monaco. So we would actually do a big event strategy. We had launch events with Tommy Ton. He's a photographer, fashion photographer. We did a collaboration with him and did parties in store that really drove a lot of sales. But we also did all of the media relations, loaning 8 deliveries of clothes to the press and to stylists and VIPs and influencers, getting, people to wear our goods and talk about our goods and tell, customers where to buy through
How hard
our
can that
various.
be? Getting celebrities to wear your goods. How hard can it be to get that to happen? Because I always think of Beats when somebody starts talking about that, because
Beats by Dre.
yeah, good
Yeah.
headphones, not the greatest headphones,
Wow.
but
Huge marketing budget.
the marketing was ridiculous, and the fact that they knew every musician that was worth anything at the time pretty much and got them to wear them in public or say something about it, I think was huge. So I'm wondering, how difficult is that for you guys to get these celebrities to wear your stuff or use your whatever it
Yeah,
is?
it really depends on, it's kind of, there's no like rigid strategy. It has to do with, obviously your relationships. If you have access like directly to a celebrity and they, have a personal relationship with the designer or something and they want to support, that's one great way to get in. But also if you have relationships with the celebrity stylists, who a lot of them are based in LA, but doing like press days for them and having, getting a hotel room at the Chateau Marmont and setting up your racks of clothing there and inviting all these people in and letting them pull whatever they want for their clients, or even sometimes creating pieces for them, like, tailoring pieces to these doll sizes that might not necessarily be off the rack ready, like Emily Ratajkowski or whatever. She's got crazy proportions that probably, all of her pieces are custom tailored to her body to fit perfectly. So yeah, working with those stylists to do special loans for their clients helps a lot. And then, you can also we did a lot of like blanket giftings where we would just send certain styles for the season, special styles out to these people with hope that they would open it and love it and wear it. And, it was much more of a shot in the dark type of tactic, but it works. You get those people that actually end up wearing it, and then it's a huge win for the brand. So there are a few different ways that you can get there.
Do you usually see can you tell like the spike when certain celebrities wear it as opposed to say the months before where they hadn't worn it and then all of a sudden they get the publicity and they're out wearing it?
Yeah, I mean, it's hit or miss. I think that with those really special pieces, those really standout pieces, then you'll see the traction because people will want that specialty item versus like a random pair of blue jeans, that
Right,
you
yeah.
can from any company. And, you can't really even tell if they're yours in some cases in photographs. But yeah, and then you enter the influencers who became sort of the new celebrities during all of this time. It certainly wasn't the case when I started, but you have all of these social media influencers who are now the new celebrities in a big way. And like we had someone, her name's Leandra Medine. She's the man repeller, and she wore.
She's the who?
She's called the man repeller.
The man repeller?
Yeah.
Okay.
She started off as sort of being like the anti-feminine fashion girl. Like her style is kind of like man repelling kind of.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense.
She's not like sexy or, catering to what she thinks the male ideal is.
Okay, I do have a question about it. Does she like men?
Yeah,
is she straight? Okay.
She's straight and married, and that's what's kind of great about it is she just doesn't really care.
That makes that makes more sense than if she was some lesbian doing it. I was like, well, then you just kind of expect it.
Right. Now, she was wildly successful. It still is, but when Nicola started at Diesel, he did this T-shirt with it's like a white T-shirt and drew boobs on it, like took black paint, just like drew boobs. So it's sort of like. Anyway, shocking.
I've seen that shirt. I've seen that T-shirt.
We did a bunch of remakes of it, which was a kind of fun thing to see. But we did a blanket kind of outreach to people that we thought would appreciate that type of design. And she wore it, and we sold a ton from her posting about it on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, sometimes it works. You can see the uptick immediately. And, the Royals have a really good way of doing that.
My God, you get something on Meghan Markle right now, I think you sell out in hours.
But they don't accept free gifts. That's their thing.
Oh, really? So they have to buy everything?
Everything. Yep.
So what if you sent them something, but it wasn't really packaged well and they could see it really well? And
or had
somebody go like, hey, you want this? And you kind of show it to them. And we can't take a gift, but I'll buy that from you because that's cute.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we've ever tried that tactic, but.
Or you could have somebody just come and go, hey, you like this? I'll give it to you. And or I'll sell it to you.
Oh, right. That could work.
Yeah,
you
sure.
You never know. Just in case you run into them in the street sometime.
Yeah, exactly. My thing about somebody giving you something, my wife and I were at Venice Beach. And we were walking down Venice, and a bird took a dump in my wife's hair.
Oh, horrible!
It dropped in her hair, and our friend is with us, like, oh, it's okay, don't worry. My wife's freaking out. I was like, it's okay, don't worry about it. It's good luck. And she's like, no, it's not. And there's like these two stoners come. I was like, dude, what happened to your hair? And she's like, a bird took a shit in my hair. Can I have your shirt? And the guy goes, yeah. And you go, wait, no, you can't have my shirt. Because I think right as he was about to take it off, he realized what she was going to do with it. She was going to wipe it all out of her hair. He's like, no, you can't have that.
Oh, man.
It had nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it was just made me think about that one. It's like, hey, we could sell what you're wearing.
Yeah, for sure. It wasn't an unpleasant experience. Boy.
Yeah.
Maybe she could have also gone and gotten one of those T-shirts, those like lifeguard T-shirts.
Oh yeah, yeah. Our
Yeah.
friend ran and got her a bunch of paper towels or something, and
Oh
she
my
wiped
God.
it out, and we're okay. How closely do you work, or do you work at all with like the creative directors and art directors? On do you have anything to do with shoots, or do they do the shoots on their own, and then you come up with the PR part on your own, and do you base it off? Do you guys work together to try
Yeah,
and figure that out?
very much so. So I could just most recently speak to the collective group. So we were a pretty small team, and we'd always bounce ideas off of each other. Our old creative director would ask us, you know, what kind of talent that we who we thought was interesting for the each of the three different brands to shoot for campaigns and things. And then if we had someone who was press-worthy, like for equipment, for example, we did a shoot with Shalom Harlow. She's one of the kind of supermodels, the original
Yeah,
supermodels, and she, you know, has a big following in fashion. She's also very creative herself, so we let her creative direct the campaign, and she came up with this really great concept, kind of otherworldly concept, where she did cutouts of different pieces of art and mixed them in with mixed media with the photography images, and they turned out beautifully. So we ended up doing, like I suggested, doing a wild posting campaign in New York, which is basically like the wheat paste posters that you see
yeah,
everywhere,
yeah, yeah.
scaffolding and things, because it's like that kind of imagery really belongs in sort of like a cool, tangible galleries type format. Um, in addition to living on our website and whatever. But we hadn't done that before. And so, you know, we were very collaborative in terms of like, where should this live? How should it live? How should people consume this type of campaign? And we definitely had, you know, sit downs where we would all brainstorm what that would look like, beyond, you know, who the talent is, where it should live, and then publicizing it to the media, telling the story to all of the different outlets about, you know, how the project came together, and doing Q&As with her, and giving it, you know, a backstory, some context, and living beyond just imagery, um, and what, you know, why she is an equipment woman and why she wanted to work with us, to give it as many legs as possible. So yeah, we're extremely collaborative, or like to be, because I think that's the best way to be, in our jobs. Also, we have, with Joie, for example, we have a more editorial type of destination on our website. Originally started as Sunday Girl, but we evolved it to be called Joie Muse Series, and we would go out. It was solely PR and digital comms responsibility to find subjects each month, real people, um, to feature in our clothes, shoot them how they style and wear with their own accessories and their own, you know, in their own environments in most cases, like in their home or their office, and do run that with a Q&A on who they are, why are they interesting, what do they do in their real life, how do they wear joie in their real life, and how does that translate sort of to their lifestyle, and sort of making it more approachable, sort of telling the story in that way, because Joie is, you know, a department store brand with standalone stores all over the United States. So it's nice to tell the brand story beyond just aspirational on model, you know, stick thin girls who clearly look great in the clothes in the most pristine kind of beautiful set on photo shoots and things like that's one part of it. We like to
Right.
do that still, but also folding in kind of a real world aspect of it and bringing it to life and telling real women's stories and relating them to our brand, was a cool thing to incorporate for Joie as well. I think that really worked super well for the brand
Yeah.
storytelling.
It seems I'm seeing a little more of that as well. I mean, I think
Yeah,
it's coming more of a thing to do. I think because it seems to, I guess, reach out to the people and make them feel like they're involved in it, and it's something that's attainable to them, as opposed to just, yeah, I could never look that good in that kind of a
right.
thing.
And it's also fun to see how people style, you know, pieces. You wouldn't think of dressing, you know, mixing and matching certain things the way people have done, or with, their own different wild pieces of jewelry or belts and hats and shoes, on our own photo shoots or lookbooks and things. We don't do that because we want everything to be ours. So for
Right.
this, it was a fun kind of way to step away from it and give the reins to our customers, or, the people engaging with our communities.
Do you guys do a lot of behind the scene motion or stills, that kind of thing for all these as well? Or do you just kind
We're
of
trying
take what you have?
yeah, we're trying to do much more of that nowadays. Like I said, we've been a really lean team for a long time, so it's tough when you have. Also have an in-house photography team, so we have
Okay.
our studios in-house where we shoot flats, and we shoot all of our e-commerce on model photographs. But then when we have our photographer go on to different locations to shoot campaigns and things, he doesn't necessarily have the time to also be doing video
Right.
and that. So we have started bringing in his sort of the photographer, more junior photographer that works under him there to do that type of thing because he's capable of it. We have and has the equipment, so that's been helpful, but certainly something new. We haven't been doing
Yeah.
that until recently. So
What's
it
the
lives. The more content, the better. Social, online, like that's what people are looking for.
yeah, is that the biggest change you've seen since you started in this whole thing?
Huge. Print
Yeah.
is like obsolete. I mean, I hate to say it, it's not obsolete. Like I personally still love to flip through the pages of a magazine and bring, magazines on planes with me. And I know a lot of people, especially in fashion, that do that too, or enjoy consuming their media that way still. But in terms of advertising or focusing on print PR, it's taken a back seat. It has. And then look at where we are now. We're all working from home, like
Yeah.
it, everyone's consuming media through their computers and their phones. Everything is digital. So yeah, that's been probably the biggest change in terms of the landscape.
Yeah. Was it taking a huge change in your mindset for this whole thing? Or is it just pretty much the same
Well, yeah, I mean,
idea
it used
overall?
to be it's keeping us on our toes, right? We have to
Yeah.
evolve. I mean, it used to be so much more formulaic. You would have your printed lookbooks that you would mail to your 25 fashion editors who would keep them like a library in their offices, and that would be that. And, you would call to follow up to make sure they had the materials. But nowadays, it's like you have to keep a Rolodex of thousands and thousands and thousands of contacts, of ever changing contacts. I mean, you have like the mastheads of the print magazines that are still, being published. Then you also have the entire digital teams of, those exact same publications. And then you have all of the online publications that stand alone as digital, outlets. And then you have all the influencers who all live digitally, and the way you speak to them, you have to, address them all differently. It's not like you can just send out a press release to everyone anymore. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's it's made a lot more work for people like me, but hey, it's also allowing us to get more creative and not stay stagnant.
Well, I guess that part's good.
Yeah.
Oh, and for all you 21-year-olds who happen to be watching or listening to this, a Rolodex is basically like your contacts list.
Sorry, threw that one in there, left field.
No, I got it. I understood exactly what you were talking about.
The clipping on business cards onto those little pieces of paper. Yeah.
Do people even still use business cards? Do they still have those?
I have some. I don't think I remember the last
Do you
time I
give?
took them out, but they're beautiful.
Yeah, I know. I think I have some. I have a box of them, and I don't remember the last time I actually gave one out to anybody because it's just like, hey, let me give you my info, and you throw it in your phone, and you can move on, I guess. Is there anything that you've got that you've done that has been like your favorite event, your favorite thing that you've done, or something that you think of, and it's like, when you did it, that it was a huge success almost within, the first couple of days or something like that?
Wow. One particular project, I don't think I could pinpoint what that is. But I can say that earlier on in my career, it was awesome when we used to be involved in producing fashion shows during New York Fashion Week, and whether it was like really huge productions where people would show up and you would be like, whoa, what is this? You know, it's like theatrics, and people invest tons of money into these big shows and these models and the lighting that was really, and then all of the press to follow. For example, when Nicola Formichetti joined Diesel, we had this wild show in Venice, in Italy. Flew all of the, most important press out there. They got picked up on these from the airport and the hotel, and these little boats, these little Venice boats, with the wood.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
boats,
Little gondola things.
Sorry.
Gondolas? Is that what
the little speedboats? You can actually
take
them
the little speedboats.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You can take them directly to the airport too, which is absolutely insane. But we took them out to these, this little island, and there's this old beautiful building with fire outside, and then they all got to see. It was completely surreal, and it took so much planning, but it was a bit of a logistical nightmare. But out of this world, like, the show was phenomenal, and the casting, it was just the styling, it was insane. I mean, that was not on my shoulders. It was absolutely the most collaborative project that I had part in it, and that was a proud moment. But doing fashion shows early on, and being involved even with the smaller designers like Scott Sternberg of Band of Outsiders. I don't know if you remember that brand, but it was a really cool kid brand, and he decided to do a partnership with Sperry Topsiders, which was one of my clients, the boat shoes. And we did, he lived in LA and entrusted me to help him find, a venue and do all of the planning on site in New York, which ended up being, I found this great little old boat in Chelsea Harbor that looked like kind of an old tugboat, a lot of wood trim. It felt kind of preppy and great and perfect. And he entrusted me to plan it. And we got Anna Wintour, we say, to come walk the plank, because she came out. He was part of the CFDA nominations at the time. And so she came out to see what was going on with this collaboration and his first show. And we had her walk the plank and got all of the right people there. And it was just so cute. It was so much fun to see that happen for him, as a smaller.
Did she do that willingly, like with a first ask on that, for getting Anna Wintour to walk the plank? Was that hey, will you walk the plank? And she said, yeah, why not? Or did that take a little bit of convincing?
About it. Yeah, she was a tiny little, board she had to cross to get onto the boat. She was like, of course, like, big deal.
All right.
They'll make it across. No problem. Yeah, she pulled up in her black car and went right on. It was great.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, wow. Well, that sounds so. Do you now, or did you before? How's the travel different between now and the way it used to be? Are there still those kind of budgets for doing those big shows and traveling to Italy and all that, or is that completely kind of changed? Because I know in photography it's changed big time.
Yes, right. I'm sure. No. They're not the same. I mean, anyone in editorial will tell you. I think brand side as well. Some people have money and they do really, I think the big players still have money to play with. I don't know what's going to happen after this big coronavirus thing, but yeah, it's certainly declined, but we still get a fair amount of travel. And like, we've, up until recently as a team, gone to Paris for Fashion Week. We have a beautiful showroom there where we present to international buyers and media, and host influencers and things. So, I think to a degree, it's a global industry that requires, travel. And if you're working with a Italian-based company, you probably want to get some FaceTime in with them at some point, do meetings. I mean, we'd have kind of all market kind of brainstorm sessions at headquarters in Venice, outside of Venice, for Diesel, and twice a year. That might not happen as frequently, but I think it's still necessary to do some travel for sure. And even like location changes. If you're shooting in LA all the time, your imagery is going to look the same. You know, you want to shoot in New York sometime, or you want to go, you know, somewhere, Miami, somewhere, do something different, show a different season, show a different vibe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's important.
Yeah, for sure. I would think that, yeah, just shooting in the same place constantly, you'd have to get a little repetitive and monotonous, and gotta do something.
Yeah, I mean, you might be shooting, you know, in the Sahara with giraffes and elephants and things.
I've had clients where you just know that you're going someplace because they want to go there to shoot.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it has nothing to do, because I remember I went out to I was actually in LA, and we were in Palm Springs. So Palm Springs and Salton Sea, basically, for 5 days. I
Cool.
more or less laid on the ground and shot up towards the sky the entire time,
Could have been anywhere.
because they really didn't want a lot in the background. They wanted it to be as clean as possible. So we could have shot it anywhere, but the client wanted to go out to LA.
The sky is a perfect shade of blue there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't get that anywhere on the East Coast. You got to go to the West Coast. You got to go to Palm Springs and shoot it. So I didn't complain. It was fine. We had fun.
That's
You know,
fun.
but yeah, I think it was one of those things where you just wanted to do it.
What's your wildest location? Where have you been shooting that was your favorite or more outstanding?
I haven't any place that's been wild. Cabo was nice.
I'm sure.
That was a fun shoot. That was a shoot where it's that deal where you're up at sunrise, and call time for the models is 4 a.m. or whatever, and for me it was 5:30, and you show up on set and you shoot until 9:30, 10 maybe, and then you have a break till 3:30, and then you shoot again until sunset. And we did that for a couple of days, and the last day we were there, we literally did a 5:30 to 9, I think, was the shoot. And then we had the whole rest of the day to do what we wanted to. So that was a shoot I really enjoyed. I like the beach shoots, I like the shoots in Cabo. I like the shoots down in the Keys.
Right.
Those are the fun ones. Yeah, I've enjoyed those. But luckily, no place weird or too strange. I know we're supposed to go someplace in Asia. I can't remember where now. I thought it was going to be really cool. But the company literally filed for bankruptcy like a month before we were supposed to go shoot.
Oh, how sad.
But you know what? I'd rather them file for bankruptcy before I went and spent 12 hours on a plane to get there and shoot and come back and then not get paid for it.
Exactly.
So that part's okay.
Supposed to.
Yeah. So tell me, what's the strangest thing that's happened to you? Strangest thing, most interesting thing that's happened to you since you've been in this whole business?
Whew, strangest. I don't know. There's always something interesting happening. I mean, people always think that, or they don't always think, but people have a tendency to think sometimes that it's a very glamorous industry for everyone.
Yeah.
It's not. There are so many things going on behind the scenes, weird, things that keep you up all night unloading boxes alone and steaming clothes and, oh gosh, so horrible. That people just don't, they don't think about, but you have to do it all. I mean, you can't just show up and smile and, have everything be one big party with your glass of champagne. So, I mean, anything can happen really. I mean, you're dealing with huge personalities all the time. I feel like in fashion, it's inevitable. You can run into huge divas, people that are not so nice, or, you can be pleasantly surprised and get the really great people too. But everyone's working really hard. And
was there somebody that you met that surprised you about how nice they were? You say you went in and you expected them to be this diva or this pain in the ass to work with, and they ended up being a lot nicer than you originally went into it thinking?
Oh my gosh. Once I got a voicemail at my desk from Sarah Jessica Parker. I had a voicemail. She was trying to track me down to thank me for a pair of Sperry topsider boat shoes that we sent her. I mean, these shoes are, they're not expensive shoes. They
Right.
come home and everyone, loved them, and they still do. They're a legacy brand. But we sent her a pair of brown, plain Sperry Topsiders, and she tracked me down to thank me over my voicemail because I wasn't available for my shoes. The sweetest, sweetest message. I couldn't believe it. I saved it for years.
Of that. That's impressive.
It makes you feel really good, right?
Yeah. Was that one of those where the phone rang and you're like, I'm not answering the phone? And then later you're like, damn it, I should have answered the phone.
No. We were pretty good back then, especially about picking up the phone. I mean, that's kind of how people, operate.
Do you pick it up now? Nobody picks it up now, it seems like.
It's all spam. I mean, I get these crazy calls from God knows where in different languages, and I hate picking up my phone.
I got the same call 4 times yesterday or 2 days ago. I can't remember. And it was, hi, 2020 healthcare or something. And it's the same exact thing. It was 4 times in the same day.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah,
and I don't know how to get it because every time it's from a different number. So you block that number and it just comes from different. And one time I got one, they left a voicemail. I called the number back and it was some random guy. And he had no idea that they had basically spoofed his phone number and used it to call me. Yeah.
Huh. The things they can do, I mean, it's insane.
Oh, I get spam emails from myself.
Oh, scary.
Yeah,
it might be time to change your email address.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the worst part is it's from my business email address. So it's a little more difficult on that one. But anyway, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Absolutely. Some great stories. I enjoyed it.
So a little bit scatterbrained, but
hey, I thought it was perfect. And you guys watching, listening, if you enjoyed it, like it, thumbs up it, subscribe to it, all that kind of stuff, and we'll keep doing it. So thank you again.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.